Analyzing ancient texts as linear stories overlooks their true nature. We are looking for an underlying computational architecture. Standard narrative analysis fails here. The sequence of the pages does not represent the sequence of the text's internal operations. Topological mapping reveals a scale-free graph containing exactly 6,236 nodes, the individual verses, interlinked by 343,842 edges through precise token matrices. This high-density network functions as a firmware substrate. It maps the behavior of a physical dynamical system. The architecture supports simultaneous multipath activation. Input processes concurrently across the entire grid, rather than following a single sequential line. Treating this mathematical substrate as literature obscures its mechanical purpose. This is a structural map of physical reality. Defining the mechanics of this map requires a specific framework, the dual caustic universe. The first operator is the like field, a time-symmetric wave plane where information flows without loss. The second is the sound field, a time asymmetric channel acting as a unidirectional entropic arrow, driving experience forward. These conflicting fields intersect to form an asymmetrical engine. This creates a survival problem for the system. A unidirectional entropic arrow generates constant pressure. Without a relief valve, the system eventually tears itself apart. Without a mathematical constraint to process that entropic spike, the mapped universe suffers infinite divergence, collapsing into maximum noise. Modeling these bidirectional and unidirectional dynamics requires a specific class of geometry, a strange attractor. This is the Lorenz attractor. While it models chaos, its dual-lobed, symmetrical phase portrait is built on balanced geometry. It cannot map a system driven by a one-way thermodynamic arrow. This symmetry makes the Lorenz model incompatible with the dual caustic framework. The geometric engine required for this system is the Rössler attractor. Its XY plane spirals outward to generate structure, mirroring the bidirectional light field. The Z-axis provides the unidirectional vertical spike needed to account for the entropy sound field. The Rössler attractor's inherent asymmetry is the only geometric engine capable of processing these conflicting fields without forcing a total collapse. A critical danger remains. In a standard Rössler trajectory, the outward spiral continuously accelerates until it escapes to infinity. The text identifies this state of infinite divergence as Taghūt, a condition of maximum thermodynamic noise where structure vanishes. To maintain stability, the system requires a fold parameter. It needs to forcefully kick the trajectory back toward the center before it hits the threshold of escape. This active control parameter is encoded as verse 1912, the command to take the book with strength. It sits precisely at the fold's inflection point. This boundary condition halts the divergence. The trajectory collapses back down and stabilizes at an invariant center, d equals 19. The math requires an active operator to trigger this parameter. Human action, the reader executing the command, is the exact constraint that forces the dissipative return and preserves the system. We can test this model by converting individual verses into coordinate nodes within the phase space. Follow the initial trajectory as it moves outward from the origin. It hits the heaven state, then node 230, and continues to node 81.8. As the trajectory approaches the base of the vertical spike, it reaches node 1819. The line streaks vertically up the entropic spike, rounding the 1912 dissipative fold. During the steep post-fold descent, the trajectory hits nodes 2158 and 2125. On this returning path, the trajectory arrives at node 1810. A chronological paradox appears here. In the physical book, you read verse 1810 long before verse 1819, but in the dynamical trajectory, 1810 occurs after the 1912 fold. Both verses describe the exact same location, the cave. A vertical plumb line shows both nodes occupy identical XY coordinates, separated only by height on the Z-axis. Node 1819 sits on the low-energy outward path, while 1810 is directly above it on the return path. This apparent narrative sequencing error is the mathematical signature of a three-dimensional phase space architecture. Forcing the trajectory through the 1912 fold has immediate physical consequences. Because the fold is a dissipative operator, phase space volume mathematically contracts as the trajectory descends. This facilitates a fruit-to-seed transformation. compressing the divergent trajectory into a dense core of information. This contracted thread integrates back into the central basin at node 1144. The cycle is now complete. The scattered divergent states have been returned to unity. The entire command sequence finally finishes its complex work, converting a chaotic thermodynamic threat into a perfectly stabilized, information-preserving geometric structure. This completed dynamical cycle forces a reevaluation of the entire textual architecture. This system operates with zero free parameters. Every variable and coordinate node is strictly constrained by the geometry of the fields. This density of structured data defines a fully computed substrate. It is a rigorous map, not a collection of poetry or abstract theology. These ancient records actually encode advanced principles of nonlinear dynamics centuries before the formal discovery of chaos theory. We have followed a scale-free network, mapping to an asymmetric attractor, surviving a dissipative fold, and returning to an invariant center. The equation remains static without an input. The reader functions as the essential active operator that runs the code. This text serves as the exact mathematical phase map of the universe's mechanics.